Hi, I'm John Ozturk. I am the Chief Sustainability Officer and the co-owner of Garden on the Wall.
I'll have to start by having my next guest, John Ozturk of Garden on the Wall, share his story. Please, John, tell us what's the story behind this amazing company that you co own, and tell us the inspiration and how you got here today.
So Farshid, it's interesting that I had nothing to do with basically gardens before. My previous life is basically I'm born into a stone processing family, so I've always been a natural stone guy. And in one of my trips to Europe, Italy, actually, I had to check some of the project materials, and I checked it, and my wife just called me and said, "Hey, I'm in Istanbul. I'm gonna fly to Milan. Would we just go around for a couple of days?" I said, "Perfect." So we just basically checked into a hotel. It was like around 1 a.m. in the morning, and they just gave me basically a room card, and it said Earth Room. There was no number. They said in the second floor, it's the Earth Room. You're gonna find it. So we went upstairs, and we looked around, and literally there was one room without number on it. They said probably this one. We got into that place, and voila, there's a garden there. It's a small scale garden, but it was garden, and we're mesmerized by it because in our household, me and my wife generally is not successful keeping the plants alive, so we either just over water them, not water them enough. So I went downstairs. I said, "This is beautiful. We love the place, and how do you keep this garden alive?" They said, "No, it's not alive, so it's not living anymore. It's frozen in time." I said, "It's a wonderful, wonderful idea." And at that time, we were already working with Gensler. We were already working with HOK in basically in our stone business, and then we have been providing stones to projects. So it was just basically a wonderful idea. Said, "All right, so let's just find out what this product is and how it works." It took probably a good 10 months, 11 months to understand, to communicate, and basically get the product in here to New Jersey.
What an amazing story. So you knew the A&D community, you identified a product, but by pure luck and coincidence, you end up discovering this category of preserved gardens, moss, and really you've built out what has become a name that's synonymous with this category. You've truly been a part of identifying and bringing this in a large scale way to the US. I would love if you would just share with us how this takes place. What does the process look like for someone who's going to have one of these beautiful preserved gardens installed in their building? And what does it look like in terms of maintenance? Talk to us about some of the benefits.
So what happens is that these plants, these moss species, they're all sustainably grown in Europe in special farms. And once they attain their best, they're harvested and they're going into a preservation process. The preservation process is in our supplier specific, by the way, because there are 14, 15 different companies in the world that they preserve the moss, they preserve the plants, and they also preserve the roses and hydrangeas that you generally find out in Valentine's Day, forever roses, this and that. So it's a market, but mostly for the flower species. So these plants are basically in our supplier specific again. They place them in the glycol and the glycerin solution in specific containers in a 5,000, 6,000 square feet specific chamber. And then they mimic the day and the night conditions with the temperature, with the light conditions, and with the pressure control. And basically, plants are slowly but surely they replace their sap with that solution. After 2 weeks, that fully absorb all the solution, and it just mummifies them. So we just have them in New Jersey. We have a large 6,000 square feet climate controlled warehouse. We keep them in that space. And let's say you're a designer and you are inspired by our mesmerizing gardens. We have been, installing these gardens since 2014, and we have installed over 1,730 installations, and we covered 169,000 square feet garden surface. We have enough basically garden types that can inspire the interior designers. So let's say you have a project, you're considering to use garden on the wall. What you do is that you're looking at our website, you look at our design brochures, you look at our material banks page, and then you see all these basically different options, and then you decide, okay, I'm going to use as a wall garden, or I'm going to use as a planter insert, and you're looking at the specific sections in basically those areas, and then you communicate with us. We create a garden together with our team and the interior design team. They collaborate wonderfully. As a matter of fact, we have a lot of design firms that they repeatedly come back to us because it's a fun process to work with garden on the wall project management and the design team. And then we basically bring an idea into an execution with a wonderful garden that it's a part of the biophilia, part of the neuroaesthetics, part of the neuroarchitecture. It's a crossroads of everything that about a person, about a basically human centric design. That's what we're going after right now.
I've had the amazing experience of seeing one of your installations at the Nashville airport. And
Yes,
I was blown away, not just by the sheer beauty, but there is literally an audience that stands and stares at it. And, we're going through, all of us traveling from airports to airports, and there is something about it that improves mood. There's something that improves just a happiness and the overall attitude. But what you're describing, I'd love the audience to also learn that these are done with the healthiest of processes. So I learned, for example, that you have a health product declaration, that these are LEED certified, that you have the well building standard certifications, and that you were one of the very first, I believe, the first wall garden system that was listed by Mindful Materials.
exactly.
How did you go through that? Because you've really been the innovator inside of the US. How did you go through and establish those processes? And tell us how you get these certifications for such an amazing product.
When we started in 2014, again, biophilia is something that we basically focused on, but sustainability and being environmental friendly is always at the heart and the center of what we always did. So when we introduced the concept in 2014, no one knew about what's a preserved garden is, what's a preserved moss is, what's a preserved plant is. And between 2014 and 2018, I literally have asked at least 20, 25,000 designers in the trade shows, one-to-one meetings, sponsorship events. There's beautiful garden behind me. They're looking at it. They're all just, inspired, and they're loving it. They're smiling at it. And all of a sudden I'm asking, what do you think you're looking at? And basically, majority of the answers was always living wall, of course. That 4 years that took time for the industry to understand there's a preserved garden concept. So starting from 2017, we slowly gone after all necessary documentation, health product declaration, version 2.3 with 100 parts per million disclosure for the whole garden system. By the way, we are still the only one in the world that has a HPD 2.3, 100 parts per million disclosure for the whole garden system. Whole garden system means the moss, the plants, the adhesive, and basically the plywood backing, the whole system. We're the only one in the compliance with the California Department of Public Health VOC standards. We're the only one in the world that complies with the Healthy Hospitals Initiative. 100% bio-based test. All of these was the result of our basically wish to let them know, yes, we claim that we are sustainable, we claim that we have material health and occupant health credentials, but it's all about proving them that we have a backing documentation. And then we wanted to make sure that we really do not affect ecosystem, the planet, the human health. We wanted to make sure that we're complying with all of them. And that's why Garden on the Wall is the most sustainable, most trusted, most transparent preserved garden supplier in the world still as of today.
if we could dig in just one portion of it, there's no maintenance, correct? That's required
There's
here.
absolutely no maintenance, Farshid. The beauty of this product is natural product, right? So it's a natural product. It's a grown plants, grown moss, but it's treated so that they can just keep their fresh cut state for long years to come. So no water, no light, no soil, nothing, no trimming, no pruning.
John, you were the very first brand. Obviously, you created this category inside of this country. You were a very early adopter. In fact, you're the founding partner inside of this preserved gardens biophilic design category. Share with us what you saw in Material Bank that made you interested in joining, and tell us any surprises that you've had along the way.
I think we are one of the first 50 companies to commit into Material
That's
Bank.
exactly right.
When we started the conversation, probably 2019, it was April or March. Um, I have been told that by the Material Bank team that, as a starter, we would prepare 300 samples for, designers who would require. And then within 3 months, as the, samples are distributed, we could start replenishing them. Long story short, 2019, that's the first day. I think it was 350 samples gone. So it's basically we were out of the samples in the first day of the rollout. The surprising thing was the demand that it's extremely, extremely well received, our samples, and then it's distributed all around the country.
So you've been here now coming on year 6, and we're forever grateful for your support. And we've helped you expand the business quite a bit. I'd love for you to share with us, how do you think about the quality of the leads that Material Bank generates for you?
I think it's wonderful because at the beginning, I guess the main clientele or the main interior designers were top 100 interior design giants. That they were the first ones to come in basically to the medium, and they created a real well established basically interior design uh, people that is basically our target clientele. As the Genslers, HOKs, TPGs, Perkins Wills, Perkins Eastmans, they got in. The others wanted to come in and everything. And it's very convenient, a lot of samples. They're going to be next day at your, desk. It's a wonderful idea, wonderful execution on your end. So it works very well.
Having been here a long time, you've closed lots of transactions which started as a lead on Material Bank. Share with us some of the success installations that you've had as a result of the Material Bank leads.
One project just comes, to my mind in Cambridge, and it's a life sciences building. We have installed a beautiful 380, close to 400 square feet, right by the stairs cases that they have. It's just right entry at the entry of the building on the left side. It's a wonderful, welcoming, let's say, nature installation that basically helps people to connect with the nature. And and you're going upstairs, you're just being part of the nature. You run through nature, you just go through the nature. It's absolutely a wonderful installation, and it's one of the projects that we got through the Material Bank, and I'm forever thankful for that too.
John, on behalf of the entire team at Material Bank, I want to thank you and the amazing company that you have built, a garden on the wall. We look forward to many more years of success.